though he strove to give the realm peace and plenty in the wake of the Dance of the Dragons. In fact, when coming to the throne in his own right after the regency, King Aegon made this core to his plans for the Seven Kingdoms. So much so that it was Aegon's biggest argument for the swift removal and purging of his regency council. However, King Aegon III Targaryen had a traumatic and troubled childhood, which in turn created a troubled young man when he came of age. One saving grace was the copious amounts of work that the king's younger brother, Prince Viserys, did to try and coax his damaged brother out of his shell. While the efforts of the prince were minor, even these small changes to the king's behaviour and outlook was helpful. There was one huge issue that counteracted King Aegon's wish to provide the realm with peace and plenty. Aegon proved unwilling to court his own people, from the highest of lords to the most lowly of small folk. The king was dark and elusive figure within his own court, and well beyond the walls of King's Landing. In truth, King Aegon III might have had a very different reign altogether if it was not for that of the one fatal flaw in his character, one that no amount of work could fix or improve: his coldness and distant nature when it came to those he ruled. If he could not muster any affection for his own queen or children, how could strangers across the realm ever connect with him? His brother, Prince Viserys, who in his last years served as hand of the king for his brother, had the gift of charm. In fact, during the early years of his brother's rule, it was the prince who brought life and light to the Red Keep, with the king often locking himself away in his chambers. It fell to the prince, his wife Lady Lara Of Lys, and Aegon's queen Daenerys, and much later all their children, to hold court and host the necessary feasts and events expected. But even Prince Viserys himself grew stern and somewhat cold after his beloved wife abandoned him and their 3 children for her native Lys. All we know for certain was in the year 139 AC, 1 year after giving birth to Princess Daenerys, she left King's Landing on a ship destined for her birthplace of Lys. The people of Westeros had never warmed to the House Roger, with many seeing them as foreign invaders trying to wield power over the king. And in truth, Lara of Lys never did seem at home in the Red Keep. She never learnt the common tongue, and always seemed to long for her homeland, with this issue being made worse after the downfall of her house and exile of her brothers from King's Landing. Therefore, some speculate that Lara of Lys was simply homesick, while others suggest a more sinister force at play. Until more detailed accounts of this time period are found, we will never know the truth of the matter. Lara, however, did die in 145 AC of unknown causes. Lara left Viserys behind with their 3 young children. The eldest was a boy born in 135 AC. They called Aegon after the king. He was said to be a vigorous, robust and handsome babe with the traditional silver hair and purple eyes of House Targaryen. It is also claimed that no babe ever lived who fed so lustily from his wet nurse, with that then developing into a gluttonous love of food and all things fine as he grew older. It is said that Prince Aegon coveted the Iron Throne even as a child. He was handsome and skilled with a lance and a sword. He loved to hunt, hawk and dance. At court he was the brightest prince, who dazzled lords with his wit. However, as he grew older, he would often lose control of his lusts and would fall into gluttony. Their second son, Prince Aemon Targaryen, was born 1 year after his brother, 136 AC. As an infant, Aemon was a large and lusty and strong babe, with all the normal traits of a Targaryen, like his brother Aegon. As he grew older, it became clear that Aemon possessed some piety, making him much less like his elder brother and more alike to his younger sister, Daenerys. In his youth, he would become a great jouster and a swordsman, and in later life said to be as strong with a blade as any Targaryen prince before him, held in esteem for his skill at arms by all of his peers. He is considered by some to have been the noblest knight to have ever lived. He became known as the Dragon Knight because the crest of his helm was a 3-headed dragon of House Targaryen, wrought in white gold, and that is how the pages of history will always remember Prince Aemon. Lara Lys and Viserys' final child was a girl. Princess Daenerys was born in 138 AC, and like her siblings, had the traditional Targaryen look of silver hair and violet eyes. Even as a small child, she was described as fine and a delicate beauty, and almost unworldly to some degree. As a babe, she was small, unlike her elder brothers, and later she would grow into a slender and small woman, with big purple eyes and fine pale, porcelain skin, near translucent. Nerys always dressed like any princess should, but simply, and seldom wore her jewelry unless for a court event. Though she had silver gold hair of a Targaryen, she often bound it up underneath a net or concealed it beneath a cowl. Nerys was pious and gentle and frail, and beloved by those around her. When Lara of Lys left Westeros in 139 AC, House Targaryen was at its strongest position since the Dance of the Dragons nearly brought them to ruin. Lara's 3 children with Prince Viserys, and the king's own 5 with his wife Queen Daenerys meant that the future of the 7 kingdoms looked bright and prosperous, even if the king himself was unable to do it over the course of his reign.